สวัสดีค่ะเพื่อนๆ คลิปนี้พาชมความงดงามของท้องทะเลในมหาสมุทรของออสเตรเลียที่เคนซิตี้ค่ะ ชมความงามของปะการังและปลานานาชนิดนะคะ พวกเราลงเรือเรียกว่า glass bottle boat นะคะ ก็ถ่ายภาพออกมาได้สวยๆแบบนี้ค่ะ คุณผู้ชมคะมันงดงามมากไม่รู้จะอธิบายยังไงก็ขอชมภาพเอาเองก็แล้วกันนะคะค่ะดูปลานะคะพวกเขาจะว่ายแบบมีความสุขมากไม่เห็นพวกเขาทะเลาะกันนะคะไม่เห็นเขาวิ่งจิกกันนะคะแต่ไม่รู้ว่าเขากินอาหารตอนไหนเราก็ไม่รู้นะคะไม่เห็นนะคะแต่เห็นแต่ว่าเขาลอยอยู่แบบมีความสุขอย่างเงี้ยลอยไปลอยมาแล้วก็มีหลายพันมากเรือนี้ก็จะเคลื่อนไปเรื่อยๆนะคะเพื่อนเคลื่อนไปเรื่อยๆนะคะรอบๆเกาะตรงไหนที่เจ้าหน้าที่เขารู้ว่ามีปะการังเยอะก็จะเคลื่อนไปให้นักท่องเที่ยวได้ชมนะคะคือถ่ายภาพอยู่นี้คือจุดหนึ่งแต่จุดที่อยู่ข้างๆก็เต็มไปหมดนะคะถ่ายไม่สามารถถ่ายมาครั้งเดียวได้เนาะภาพจอกล้องก็ต้องโฟกัสไปจุดเดียวค่ะแต่จุดรอบๆนี่ก็แบบว่ามันหลายพันมันเยอะมากแล้วก็สวยมากค่ะทางไกด์เนี่ยก็อธิบายไปนะคะว่าเกี่ยวกับการอนุรักษ์นะคะรักษาปะการังให้อยู่นานยังไงนะคะเรื่องราวของปะการังแล้วการว่ายน้ำเอาตัวรอดแบบไหนอะไรอย่างนี้นะคะก็เห็นบอกว่าเมื่อ10 ปีที่แล้วน่ะมันเกิดพายุนะคะก็ทำลายปะการังไปเยอะเลยแล้วก็มีการอนุรักษ์นะคะอนุรักษ์แล้วก็ฟื้นฟูให้เขาเกิดใหม่อีกนะคะตามจุดนี้ค่ะในท้องทะเลของเคนตรงนี้ก็อยู่ด้านเหนือของซิตี้นะคะคือจะมีปะการังเยอะมากเป็นจุดท่องเที่ยวที่สำคัญแล้วก็สร้างรายได้มหาศาลให้กับทางประเทศนะคะทางเคนซิตี้นะคะค่ะก็เป็นภาพที่งดงามพอเราไปเห็นแล้วมันก็รู้สึกประทับใจมากค่ะแล้วก็อยากจะเป็นไงนะอยากจะมีร้านอาหารส่วนตัวที่มันลอยน้ำได้อยู่ใต้น้ำน่ะลอยไปเรื่อยๆแล้วก็นั่งทานอาหารเช้าอาหารกลางวันอาหารเย็นจิบกาแฟอุ่นๆโอ้ยคงแบบว่าจะสุดยอดบรรยากาศเลยค่ะปกติเนี่ยเราก็ชอบแบบธรรมชาตินะคะแต่ว่าไม่ได้มีโอกาสไปลงทะเลบ่อยนักนี่เป็นครั้งแรกที่เห็นความงามของปะการังเยอะขนาดนี้ก็รู้สึกตื่นเต้นนะคะแล้วก็รู้สึกอิจฉาคนที่เขาดำน้ำได้ค่ะเพื่อนๆคือคนที่เขาดำน้ำได้เนี่ยเขาก็สามารถไปดำได้ของเขาเองเลยอะจุดของเขาเองไปคนเดียวอะไรเงี้ยจะไปถ่ายภาพเอาความงามของปะการังของปลาตรงไหนจุดไหนได้ตลอดเลยแบบว่าไม่จำเป็นต้องมีเจ้าหน้าที่ดูแลเขาเลยนะคะคือแบบว่าแบบคือเขาดำน้ำเก่งอะนะคะเห็นความงามใต้ท้องทะเลแล้วเขาก็บอกว่ามันเงียบสงบมากเลยนะคะเพื่อนๆอันนี้เห็นแล้วก็เราก็นึกอยากจะเรียนว่าดำน้ำซะแล้วสิเนาะค่ะก็ขอเชิญชมความงามของปะการังไปเรื่อยๆนะคะชมภาพเหตุการณ์บนเรือเจ้าหน้าที่อธิบายอะไรยังไงนะคะขอบคุณทุกท่านที่รับชมค่ะเพื่อนๆค่ะตอนนี้พวกเราจะไปลงเรือดำน้ำแล้วนะคะจะถ่ายรูปมาให้ดูค่ะนี่ค่ะเรือของพวกเราโอ้ยอะไรคิว
Sorry.
จัง
Yes. The next one will be half an hour, and then after that it'll be 1:15. Will be the next one after that.
Okay, thanks.
And and so much for your focus. You were a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, folks, our glass bottom boat tour has now come to an end. Really quickly, before we let you guys board the point to help each other out in order to survive. So what the small fish will do, they'll eat off all the algae that's growing on the coral, and what the coral will do, they'll actually provide shelter and protection for the fish from those larger predatory fish. Okay? Now, a way that you can assess how gentle and how smooth the current is around these sections here. Basically, what you want to look for is this one coral that's waving about. For example, that's that coral that I'm going to be talking about right now. See that coral waving about right there?
Looks like spaghetti.
You're right on the money. That's what it's called, spaghetti coral. Wow!
Someone's taking your job, yeah, Jacob?
Yeah.
No, Jacob, I'm not.
We'll some pizza. Alright, so yeah, those ones there, spaghetti coral, they're very, very soft, as you can see, they're waving around a lot. You just look at that, and you can assess how gentle the current is just by having a little gander at that one. Alright? Now, during our trip, you are going to see a lot of coral rubble. What coral rubble is just pieces of healthy coral that just got snapped off and spread along the floor. Now, a lot of that coral rubble is mainly built up from the staghorn coral. Staghorn coral, a way you can tell what the staghorn coral is, basically look for the coral that looks like the horn of a stag. Okay? Exactly. I got my work cut out for me.
Okay.
Now, staghorn coral is actually very brittle and it can break like chalk. So you're going to see a lot of this coral rubble around here during our trip, and a lot of this coral rubble was actually from Cyclone Yasi. Cyclone Yasi hit back in 2011. Cyclone Yasi was a Category 5.
Will it regrow?
The strongest level a cyclone can possibly reach.
Will it regrow?
Sorry?
Will it regrow?
Oh, yes, yes. As long as the coral rubble stops growing all that algae and it's the nice firm surface for the coral to start growing on. Alright, what have we got? Cyclone Yasi was a Category 5, meaning that it was the strongest level a cyclone can possibly reach. So, the stronger your cyclone, the more stronger and the more rough your water will be. And because it was at that strongest level, very rough current, breaking off pieces of the coral, scattering them all across the reef there, leaving coral rubble. You're going to see a fair bit of coral rubble during our trip, which is very unfortunate. Now, all this coral rubble, as I was saying, from Cyclone Yasi, 2011. So, I'll put that in perspective for you. That was 11 years ago. Already been 11 years. Yeah, right. Now, from a cultural perspective, what we would do with coral rubble, we would actually make a fish trap out of it. And this fish trap would be shaped like this here. So you would have your opening at the top there, and it would start making its way down in a cylindrical kind of shape. As it's heading down, it's getting a bit more skinnier, until at the very bottom it'll fatten up like that, in a nice little sphere. All you want to do is put a little bit of bait in there, wait for the tide to lower. Once it was at that low tide, all you got to do is put that fish trap onto the ocean floor, wait for the tide to rise again. As soon as it rose, those big fish that we like would actually head in there to get a little bit of lunch. And once they headed into the fish trap, they got confused on how to leave that fish trap. So all we have to do, wait for the tide to once again lower, go out there, pick up those fish traps. Nice, easy way of hunting. Alright. One thing that people used to do is actually take this coral here, and we put a bit of pasta sauce with it, meatballs and everything, you know. Alright. Now right up above us right now, you can see there's these like these type of contraptions, yeah? There's these type of weird looking thingies there on the floor right now, these like star looking thingies. So a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, a new program came around called Reef Stars. Basically what Reef Stars was, it was a way to sustain the coral in all those areas with a lot of coral rubble, so you could just regrow and thrive, keep thriving all that coral. So, what Reef Stars was, the Mars bar company, the chocolate bar company actually gave us those stars. Those stars are made out of limestone. Alright? And they gave it to us. And marine biologists, scientists, they snapped off healthy pieces of coral, they tied it to the star with a biodegradable zip tie, and then they actually placed it down into the places where there was a lot of coral rubble. So you can see how successful it was, because around here, underneath all those healthy pieces of coral, there's a reef stars there. Yeah? Very successful idea. And these ones here, you might be thinking, oh, this one here is not growing too much. We just planted these ones here. These ones here not too long ago, a couple months ago. Whereas the ones that was completely buried, that was about 3 years ago. So very successful idea to make sure that maintain the sustainability of the Great Barrier Reef and the coral. Alright? So you want to get a bit more of a gander of what the reef star is. Here's the excellent example of it. You can clearly see the reef star, pieces of the coral that's tied together with the zip tie there. The biodegradable zip tie. Okay. How long does the zip tie last usually go?
Can't see.
Not 100%?
No, I didn't see that.
I don't think it, I don't know if it lasts too long, mate, and eventually the coral will start. Yeah, but I think so, I'm not 100% though. Alright.
Google it.
Now if you want a bit more perspective on that coral rubble, all below you right now, look at all that coral rubble there, snapped off there. Yeah? Very sad, isn't it? Once again, 11 years ago. The rubble itself, so that rubble there, that's all broken pieces that are in sometimes sort of smaller little coral rubble. Sea cucumbers will actually come along and eat them, and they'll pull it out. That's pretty much sand.
Whole ocean to swim around, and they're going to go where we go with the last one.
What? Wow.
They're on the pinnacle.
Oh wow, yeah. Alright.
You're only going to eat one of them.
Oh, 100.
It's usually a couple like sharks.
It's
around
a
here.
fair bit, that's why I couldn't give you an exact
They're
number
good
on it.
sharks.
Yeah. Alright, now when we're out here hunting, it wouldn't be like how we're doing it today. You know, we left Cairns at 9 and we're trying to get back at 5. It wasn't like that, okay? So when we were out here hunting, we was actually hunting out here for a couple of days, alright? And when we was out here hunting, we would actually hunt with a couple of our tools, and easily our most popular tool for hunting was our spear, alright? So this is an example of our fish spear. So our fish spear, we'd call it guyu galga. Guyu meaning fish, galga meaning spear, okay? Now for this spear in particular, it's made out of a beach hibiscus. And the reason why we use beach hibiscus is because it grows along the coastline. So not only was it very easy to find, but it was very saltwater resilient. Meaning that you could use it for a fair bit without the salt water breaking down the timber. Okay? Not only that, beach hibiscus very, what's the word here? Buoyant. That's the perfect word. So if you miss your target, boom, your spear will float up to the top. Alright? Also another thing about the beach hibiscus is that once you dried it out, there would still be a bit of sap that was left on the inside there. Once it connected there with the water, and it absolutely drained in the salt water, it would actually activate that tree sap to start oozing out. Okay? As soon as it oozed out there, all you have to do is rest it in the sun. Okay? And then you let your sun dry the sap into your beach hibiscus, and it'll make your spear much more sturdy and strong. Alright? So when we were down here hunting, we would actually anchor ourselves and hunt towards our coral bommies. Alright? So you want an example of what a coral bommie is? Look right below you right now. This over here is one of our coral bommies. One of many. Alright? And our canoes would take about, elders could come out here in about 30 minutes. Canoes would be about a day. Right? Yeah. Alright.
Looks like a mushroom.
So the word bommy actually comes from an Aboriginal word called bumbora. And what bumbora means, it means stand alone. So the way coral bommies form, basically when coral on the floor dies, fresh coral is going to grow on top of that. Once that coral dies, fresh coral is going to grow on top of that, and it's just going to keep going, and with every single time it keeps growing, it'll elevate itself higher and higher and higher, making these coral mountains, alright? Which are coral bommies. Now once again, the word bommy comes from an Aboriginal word bumbora, meaning stand alone, and that's exactly what these coral mountains here are doing. They're just standing alone. Alright? So we just anchor ourselves to these, and we'd start hunting around here. Around these coral bommies is where a lot of our larger fish like to hang out. Alright. So keep an eye out for anemone fish. Anemone fish, we got Nemo's around here. That yellow and black one, we call that one sweet lips. I'm not sure.
Because it was sweet to eat.
Why do they call it sweet lips, Gary?
Just the family. It's a many line sweet lip. So they got lines on its body. And it's got a cousin which is a many spotted sweet lip, which is black and white spots. One's got spots, one's got stripes. And they got big lips.
Big lips. That's it.
Sweet lip.
Oh, that's a sea slime.
Sea slime.
Is that sea slime?
Ah, that black bit. That's a sea cucumber.
Oh, cucumber.
That's them right there.
Oh,
So would there be any specific breed of fish that the indigenous people would have went after?
Or like
just
the,
anything?
yeah, no, as long as it was
A decent size?
decent size, as long as it was actually good tasting.
Yeah.
Because like we only hunted for the animals that we could actually eat, and if it was we couldn't eat that animal, not just for like poison wise or anything like that, but if, just in general, if it was not a good fish, we would leave that fish there. We only took what we need. Sorry, we only took what we needed, and we only took what we
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't take what we wanted. Alright? Alright. Now, when we was hunting for those larger fish, while we could throw our spear with the hand, it didn't give us too much power and didn't give us too much control. So we had to use an extra tool with that to help us a bit more. So this one here is our woomera. Alright, around here we call it a melee. And what we do with this one, very, very easy to lock in. All you gotta do, you see those hooks there up at the top? Very, very easy. All you gotta do, chuck it into the top of your spear.
Okay.
You're locked and loaded. Very, very simple. Because if I let go of the woomera, hangs into place. Alright? So all you gotta do is hold on to your spear by pinching it. You then aim for your target, pull back, fire. So not only will we use this for the fish in the water, but we use this on the land for kangaroos, emus, cassowaries, whatever. So basically it's just arm extension so you can give you a bit more power. So not only would we hunt for fish, we would actually also hunt for turtles. Okay? Turtles are very nice. They're very nice.
do you still have the turtles now?
Yes, but only during special ceremonies. And I don't know. Oh, I thought I seen a anemone fish. A Nemo.
It's a big fish.
Where?
Down there.
Spotted one.
Down just there. Is
Oh, yeah.
Going toward that stick.
Yeah, I see them.
It's a toadfish or pufferfish.
That is a pufferfish, eh? Yeah.
Then as they grow.
Yes, I saw it. That big one. Yeah.
You wouldn't eat that.
Pha lăng của Australia ค่ะสุดงดงาม
They would kill us. Alright, so we're gonna hunt for turtles, however it wouldn't be like how oh sorry, I completely forgot to say. Turtles though, we couldn't hunt with our fish spear because the fish spear couldn't get the job done. So we hunted with our turtle spear. So our fish spear, that was just an example of what a fish spear would look like, wouldn't really look like that. But if you were to chuck on harpoons at the end of this one, you could actually use this. Alright? So for this language name, we call it Nayawa Galga. Nayawa meaning turtle, and Galga still meaning spear. And this one is made out of a Davidson plum tree because Davidson plum tree is a very strong, sturdy piece of timber. So this one, we wouldn't chuck this one because it would be far too much strain on our shoulders. So instead what we would do was wait for the turtles to come up to the surface, take a couple of breaths of air, and we would just bump them, jab. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to say that. Yeah. Also around these areas, be on the lookout for reef sharks. They usually swim along the ocean floor. Alright. So thing about hunting turtles, however, it wasn't just a normal thing to hunt for just for the sake of feeding our tribe. We can only hunt turtles during special times, so like moments of celebration. Alright? So for example, moments like weddings, important meetings between two tribes, or a special ceremony called scarification. So, what scarification was? Basically, when boys were around 12 years old, we would actually ship them out to Fitzroy Island. Ship them out to Fitzroy Island, drop them off there, leave them there for about 2 weeks. We were checking on them every couple of days to make sure, you know, that they were alive, you know, obviously. But after 2 weeks had passed and they survived, they made a canoe out of a tree, made their way back to Cairns, and once they made their way back to Cairns, the scarification ceremony would then start. So,
There's a turtle
where's the turtle?
over there on the left-hand side. It looks like turtle, round shape. He's just
Oh,
about
I
to come
see
up
him.
to the surface
I
of
see
the
him.
water.
Right here, look, man. Right in front of you there.
Oh, yes, yes. I see. Yes.
You see the turtle? You guys see the turtle? Yep. And you break another one. Basically what would happen was you would get banished from your tribe, meaning that you had to say goodbye to your family and your friends, your loved ones forever. You have to stay all alone for the rest of your life. Or you would either once again be taken out to the rainforest, tied up against a tree, and another spear blow, but this time a spear blow right through your chest. Meaning which obviously resulted in yeah.
Difficulty in breathing.
Yeah. Nowadays we don't do the fatal spear blow because that's what you call murder. Alright?
With the same blokes that come out and hunted on the reef, do the same bloke.
You know, I'll take that. Thank you very much, guys.
Big round ball one. Grows about half an inch a year. Slow growing.
You guys see the picture? Do you want to see the picture? You don't? Okay. Sorry. That's scarification there. Yeah. That's that shows to everyone that you went through that ceremony, you learned how to survive. So as soon as you learn how to survive and hunt, you was a man from that point on, so you get scarred. Meaning they could get married at the mighty age of 12. Yeah, but we'd only hunt during very certain time. Yeah, when the water is calm. And I'll get into that variety. So, as we all know today, we have our 4 seasons. We got summer, we got autumn, we got winter, we got spring. Back then we only had 2 seasons. We only looked at it as 2. We had our wet season, we had our dry season. Wet season was in the summertime, dry season was in the winter time. Now the reason it was important for us to know which season was which, because during winter time, in tropical North Queensland it gets really windy, meaning that the waters get really rough. Alright? So on the really rough waters, try imagining coming out all the way out here in a canoe. You're not going to make it very far. Alright? Whereas in wet season, in summertime, the water is really calm. Okay? Meaning that you could survive. A way to tell which season was which, you would actually look from indicators from the land itself. Our main indicator was something we called a golden wattle tree. Golden wattle tree would start blooming these bright yellow flowers around the same time winter was setting in. So when it first started blooming, it was letting us know that winter was close. Also that the animals were really fat, so the perfect time to go hunting from then. When it was about halfway bloomed, it was letting us know that winter was dangerously close and we had to start getting ready for winter. And once the flower fully set in, it was letting us know winter set in. Winter set in meaning that you absolutely could not hunt out here on the waters in a canoe. You're not going to survive. So in the summer, wet season, you can hunt out here in the waters, but during the dry season and winter, you hunted only off the land. There's the land. Off the land, alright? Alright, so you see this coral right below you right now? We call this coral here cabbage coral. Yeah. So, we call this cabbage coral because, yeah, it looks like cabbage, and the thing that's interesting about them is actually when the current hits them, the way that their body is shaped, it'll actually cut that current clean in half, meaning that this coral here stays nice, strong, sturdy, secure, and so not too much pieces of coral rubble will come from these ones here. Isn't that lovely? Alright, now you remember a bit more back I was saying we only hunted turtles during special moments. The reason for this, we just wanted to make sure everything was around for the... Oh, that's just a nice stone to make hang that boy up. So, we don't hunt turtles during special moments. The reason for this, we wanted to make sure everything was around for the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation, and so forth. But also, we wanted to respect the land. We are very firm believers in the fact that if you look after the land would look after you in return. Okay? So, in order to make sure that we only took what we needed, we only took, and we never took what we wanted, a way to make sure that everything was sustained, we enforced these tribal laws. Laws being spelled out L-O-R-E and not L-A-W. And basically tribal laws are these set of rules to make sure that you were indeed sustaining the land. So, let's just say someone was not following these tribal laws. For example, someone hunted a turtle when it was not time to hunt a turtle. Someone actually hunted more than one turtle when they was not supposed, when they could only hunt one. One turtle was enough to feed your whole tribe. Let's just say, during those special times, someone hunted a turtle when they was laying eggs, looking after eggs, or whatever the case may be. They was breaking a tribal law. Tribal laws there was once again enforced to make sure that everything was sustainable. So, if you were to break a tribal law, alright, an elder would take you out to the rainforest out there and he would tie you up against the tree. And he would do this. And he would do this bang right through your leg. Look at that marrow rest right below. Look at him. There's a marrow rest right below us right now, folks.
There's a coral thread down there.
Is this that's not Wally here, right?
That's a wrasse again, yeah.
That's not Wally though, right?
No, too small.
Oh, we're not leaving
They're females, those.
I know.
The big one is the male.
Alright. Now if you were to break another tribal law and for some reason, that clam there, that's a dead clam. But there's nothing on the inside. It's still very beautiful. Do you see clams when they're alive?
It's giant.
Yeah.
They drink you that one.
Oh, it's such a pretty car. Because on the inside there, the flesh on the inside is just like really bright blue, purplish kind of color. And it's just really amazing to look at. Cool.
What was the punishment?
No. Pretend that was a spear. And then, yeah. So that was just an example of what our spear might look like. You chuck harpoons at the end, and the little spear tips at the end will usually be made out of stingray bars.
What makes this coral growth this kind of this?
Over here.
No, just why not really in other parts?
Is it because of how warm the water is over here? Like coral grows in Australia. And,
Yeah, the warm water.
yeah.
Sunlight, warm water.
Alright.
Water's not too warm at the moment, it's a bit cold. Thank you. What have we got?
The yellow and that.
5 degrees at the moment, which is pretty cold. So you can see on the side there.
Oh, you see how the tips are all blue? Yes. The reason why they got the colourful tips here at the end, these coral here grow really fast. They grow about 5 centimetres each year. And the reason why it's colourful at the end there, after it grows there, the algae couldn't reach it as it grew. Meaning that the rest of it is covered in algae. That very top part there, no algae growing on it. That's very colourful tip. Alright. Nowadays, folks, during those special moments back then, obviously, I told you about what happens if you break the tribal law. Elder, spear, you bang. Nowadays, you can't do the spear thing either through there or through there because that's against the law nowadays. So nowadays, it is modernized. So when animals are very easy to catch for them.
Yep.
And also they look for those fruits, berries that look after the camp, so they can look after all the children. And all the men would have been hunters.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, so nowadays, as I say, we don't do the fatal spear flies much. But nowadays we are modernized, so we actually partner with the government itself, federal, state government. And nowadays, during our special times when we were hunting for turtles, all the women there, they could hunt, but if you,
Yep.
so like that's what I'm saying. In the summertime, you'd be hunting out here in the water.
Yep.
Wintertime, you couldn't hunt out in the water because it's too rough. So you start hunting off the land, right? Because right here we're very, very fortunate. We got a Great Barrier Reef over here, and on the land we'd have a rainforest out there. Smash out a tooth here in the back. Bang. You seen Castaway?
Yes.
Like that. Yeah. Took such a nice turn.
Was there much tattooing amongst the
As far as
indigenous?
like tattooing, like
Yeah.
actual ink stuff?
Yeah.
Nah.
No?
No
Or a
tattoos.
Maori thing?
Yeah, that was more of the Maori thing. Yep. All right. So now, as we all know, today we have our 4 seasons. We got summer, we got autumn, we got winter, we got spring. Winter, not winter. I can speak English. I'm almost sure of it. All right. All right. Now, so basically, really quickly before I get into that, this coral down below us is our cabbage coral. And I think that's interesting about these, the way that their body is actually shaped. When the current hits them, it'll actually slice that current clean in half, so that way the coral can actually stay strong, secure, doesn't create too much coral rubble. Yeah? Alright. Now for the 4 seasons that we all now just listed them just then. But back then, merely looked at it as two seasons. We had summer, I was going to say the 4 seasons again, what world am I doing? We had a wet season and we had a dry season. Wet season was around the summertime, dry season was around the winter time. Now, the reason why it's very important for us to know which season was which was basically for survival. So in winter time it gets really windy, meaning that the waters will be really rough. So on the really rough waters, there's no way you can come out here on a canoe. You're not going to make it very far, you will not survive. So very important to us to know which season was which. And the way we did that was to look for indicators from the land itself. And the main indicator was a golden wattle tree. Golden wattle tree will start blooming these bright yellow flowers around the same time winter was setting in. When it was starting to bloom, it was letting us know that winter was close. Also letting us know that the animals were fat, perfect time to go hunting from them. When it was at halfway bloomed, it was letting us know that winter was dangerously close. We had to start getting ready for winter, and when it was fully bloomed, winter set in, meaning you could not hunt out here in the water. You had to hunt off the land to survive, okay? Now remember back then I was talking about how we only hunted turtles during special moments, special times. We did that for our sustainability. We wanted to make sure everything was around for the next generation, and so forth. And the way we did that, we enforced these set of rules called tribal laws. Laws being spelled out L-O-R-E. We only, as I said before, we only took what we needed and we didn't take what we wanted. Alright? So, let's just say someone hunted a turtle when it was not time to hunt a turtle. They were breaking a tribal law. And if you break a tribal law, the elder would take you to the rainforest, he would tie you up against a tree, and he would spear you through your leg. Okay?
Fair enough too.
Sorry?
Fair enough too.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so scarification, still around today, very rare that you find it. Not only, but yeah, once again, we would not eat those. And yeah, Green Island's basically our trading center. Very interesting stuff. Now, not only would we hunt for fish, well, in the water, we would also hunt for turtles. When we hunt for turtles, unfortunately, the fish spear could not get the job done, so we had to use a larger spear. We had to use a turtle spear. Also, for this little one there in the back, if you didn't get the chance to see Nemo, there's a Nemo up here. If you didn't get the chance to see Nemo, right up above me right now, right down here.
The blue and black striped one right there.
Which one is yellow?
Orange and white. Orange is still a Nemo fish too.
Ah, wait.
He's right there. Yeah, right there. Basically, he's right below me right now. Right there.
Oh yes.
Take photos some.
Oh yeah, there's a shark. Oh,
I can't move.
wow, that's so
Oh,
wow, that's really cool.
Where do you go?
Okay, see.
Alright.
You got a line and then you bait, mate.
Sorry, mate?
You got a line and a bit of bait.
Thinking about it. Where's it going with this? No, we wouldn't just hunt for fish, we'd also hunt for turtles. And for our turtle spear, we would actually use this one here. Now this one here is our Nayawa Galga. Nayawa meaning turtle, Galga meaning spear. And this one's made out of a Davidson plum tree. Use Davidson plum tree because it's a very strong, sturdy piece of timber. Okay? So this one here is far too heavy for us to throw, it would strain our shoulders too much. So instead, what we would do, we wait for the turtles to come up to the surface to breathe some air. As soon as they come up to the surface, we would just be there waiting for them, and we would just give them a little bump. With the harpoons there at the end. So I'm not sure with that word that rhymes with jab.
They always disappear.
Now, we wouldn't just hunt turtles just for the sake of hunting turtles. We would only hunt turtles during special moments, special ceremonies, special times like weddings, important meetings between two tribes, or a ceremony called scarification. Where's the marrow rest? Oh, the marrow rest down that one. That one there's not Wally, but there's another marrow rest. His name is Paulie.
You're not scared at all.
Alright. And we only hunt for turtles during scarification, sorry. Now what scarification was, basically when boys were around 12 years old, we would ship them out to Fitzroy Island, and we would drop them off there, leave them there for about 2 weeks or so. We were checking on them every couple of days to make sure that they were alive, you know. So when after 2 weeks had passed and they made their way back into Cairns,
This one's so beautiful.
which one are you doing? Oh, this one over here. Yes. Down there is called a cauliflower color. Because it looks like
ตัว
cauliflower.
ใหญ่ๆสวยๆ
Alright.
เขาไม่กลัว
So when after 2 weeks had passed and they made their way back into Cairns, they make their way back into Cairns by making a canoe out of a tree. And they made their way back into Cairns. So, how coral bommies form? Very, very simple. Basically when coral on the floor dies, fresh coral is going to grow over the top of it. When that coral dies, fresh coral is going to grow over the top of it. And when that coral dies, that fresh coral is going to grow over the top of it. And it's just going to keep on going, keep on going. As it's keeping on going, it's going to elevate it higher and higher, making these coral mountains. Coral mountains being coral bommies. Now one more time, the word bommy comes from the Aboriginal word bumbura, and that means stand alone. And that's exactly what these coral mountains are doing. They're standing alone. Yes.
No. They're under the park.
Alright, so we seem to have spotted all the kids on board today. We seem to have spotted some nemas. Some nemas up here now. Some anemone fish, clownfish, whatever you want to call it.
What are those ones there, the big ones?
Which one?
Maybe you don't fall through that glass way, mate.
What's this, sir? What's this? Those large fish over there? Ah, those are redcaps. They don't look red, but it's just because of the water. You pull it out of the water, it's got the bright red.
Especially be sitting right here.
Not me personally. I know a lot of family members that did.
Shark.
We got a reef shark sighting. Right down here.
Where is it?
There's a couple of reef sharks around here, so make sure you keep close eye. We see the larger one. There's a couple of smaller bubble ones, so keep an eye out for them.
No great whites here.
One there, reef shark over there, folks. Another reef shark over there.
Looks like eels.
See something around there in the middle? Another reef shark over there.
Yeah, are those eels?
Around there, a bit more in the middle.
Yeah. No, like no wing. The other ones.
They don't hang around these areas where it's a lot more deep. Yellow bears, flies.
Oh yeah, I see a tail. Never mind.
Well, there's
And even if they did come
looks
around
like
the
a
corner,
captain.
not harmless at all. They would have to be scared of us. They'd be scared.
Yeah, normally they do say like some of these sea cucumbers are huge.
Yeah.
Like they look big from up here.
So imagine them up close.
Yeah.
There's a sea cucumber.
Did you touch that one?
Alright, so on the sand there you can see all of their sea cucumbers. Now sea cucumbers actually play a very important role in the cucumbers, we would not eat them because it tastes yuck. Okay. Basically, what we would use sea cucumbers for, we would take them out to Green Island, and when we took them out to Green Island, they made their way back into Cairns, and after they made their way back into Cairns, the scarification would then commence. And what scarification was, basically, elders would take bits of clamshell, and then they would cut the boys with it. Cut the boys with it along their chest. Okay? After they cut the boys with it, they put ash or fire into the cuts. Very prominent scar would appear then on their bodies. Okay? So not only would those scarification ceremonies prove that you transition from a boy into a man, but also that it was letting everyone know that you were fully capable of hunting on your own. Alright? For example, right there. That's scarification. Yeah, scarification still around today. Me personally. My chest is fine. Thank God for that. That's not me, no. Yeah, no, it's very. Yeah, no, it's mainly what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a very common thing around Australia, and sometimes the patterns will be different, but it will kind of be similar, you know? Yeah, but similar but different, if that makes sense.
And does the ash stop it from getting infected?
The ash creates it to make those like scars like that, so it can come off from the things. Yeah. Yes. See?
How long does it take to heal?
Sorry? Those scars. Are you talking about the scars or the actual cuts? Oh yeah, the cut. Really large.
It like blends in.
Yeah, that's a pufferfish.
Is it the one I saw before?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I don't think so.
That's a pufferfish.
Well, Finding Nemo, you see it.
They can range different in sizes. That one there, that's just a really large one.
What are those long fish down there?
Where?
At the bottom?
When you
The long
keep
ones?
There's barracudas. There's a barracudas down there.
I knew there was barracudas in there. That's what killed me. Oh my god. Never heard so many barracudas.
Yes, you did. Cut the 10 minutes later.
That's crazy.
Oh, barracuda.
They look, they're like,
Yeah, they can be a bit aggressive and everything.
they
But
kill me,
yeah, they're pretty tasty.
they kill me, but they knew that was a thing.
No, they're right.
Oh yeah, very prominent scar would pop up on their bodies. I got a photo of it on my phone actually. What the scars look like. Yeah, so yeah, just wanted to show that story. To show that they went through that ceremony, but also that they went to a man. That's the scars right there. That's right.
Sharks are here every trip. Occasionally a turtle.
But I look too bad though.
Yeah, isn't that right?
One on the first one,
There you go.
one on the second one.
That's the scars there.
Now, do they have any active chain anything on that side or just leave?
Those are more
So why? We taught them everything they did. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Happy fish look so beautiful.
Gives it a bit more speed, bit more power, bit more range. So you can
ด้านล่างก็มีที่เกาะนะคะทำหินเกาะ แล้วก็มีโซ่ยักษ์ไว้ยึดเกาะตรงสถานีนี้แหละค่ะ
on a boat tour has now come to an end. So, while we are heading back, I'm just going to quickly tie off the boat to the pontoon to make sure it's safe for you guys to board. I just ask that when you do that, remain seated until either me or Gary gives you the all okay to board the pontoon again. People say all the time.
Not yet.
พอเห็นเต่าค่ะเพื่อนๆเต่าว่ายน้ำ
Might be already here. They can arrive on the helicopter. Just said they'll
If you want
and then come back.
That's a good idea. Okay. Now we have good time together. Yeah, good holiday. Okay. Yeah. In Cairns. Okay. Yeah.